This is an exciting day. This is an exciting day not only for the Rick Santorum for President campaign, this is an exciting day for Iowa, because on this day we are opening what we believe will be the office that launches for the Republican Party the nominee who will defeat Barack Obama in 2012. We're glad to have State Senator Brad Zahn here supporting us. Thank you, Senator. And we are glad to have the press, and best of all, people who believe in faith, family, and freedom, who want the economic genius of America to be unleashed again in our time and our generation. And that's why we are here supporting the candidacy of Senator Rick Santorum. We are calling upon every Iowan who wants to volunteer 1 hour, 2 hours to help us in any way spread this message of hope and American renewal across this key state like a prairie fire. And we believe that we're going to see this fire grow and build and rush across the Iowa landscape from the Missouri to the Mississippi. And we're going to put Rick Santorum in the White House. And we want to welcome Senator Rick Santorum right now to the front. Senator, congratulations on the opening of the Iowa offices of your headquarters.
Thanks, Jamie. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jamie, and thank all of you for this. Is a great turnout. I'm really encouraged. Thank you, Senator Brad. Thank you for being here, and thank all of you for coming out from counties all over the heartland here of Iowa. I am obviously very, very excited. The response that we've gotten, and now my 18th trip to Iowa. I think that's right. Anybody want to correct me on that?
I think it's 17.
17th. Keep missing that. Okay, 17th trip to Iowa. I believe in the people of Iowa. I believe that you folks have proven over the years that you measure candidates, you kick the tires, you ask the tough questions. I've answered about 10 tough questions since I walked in that door already, and it's part of that of the process that presidential candidates have to go through. I know some folks are passing on Iowa. We're not going to pass on Iowa. We're going to be here in Iowa. We're going to spend a lot of time in Iowa, and we're going to win Iowa come next year. I want to say that I know that we're not the candidates going to have the most money, or going to have all the pundits talking about them, or going to have a bunch of people chase them around to try to get into the race and encourage people who said they don't want to run. We're doing it the old-fashioned way. We're coming here. We're going to the diners. We're going to the living rooms. We're going to the Masonic halls and the church basements and meeting with folks to have them have an opportunity to measure up someone who says they want to be president. That's what this process is all about. If you want to be president of the United States, you've got to stand before the people of Iowa, the people of New Hampshire, the people of South Carolina and Nevada, and you've got to stand and you've got to make your case. You've got to leave yourself open to get those tough questions. By the way, I'll be on Meet the Press tomorrow, so we'll get some more tough questions tomorrow. But you got to stand in front of the folks and you got to say why you want to be president, and you got to stand with with the folks who are going to be running against you. Monday night, I'll be in Manchester, New Hampshire, on a debate forum, and finally, all of the candidates who at least are musing that they want to be president are going to be in a forum together. That's exactly what this process should be about. You should want to stand and you should want to articulate who you are, what you believe in, and also what your record is. One of the reasons I feel very strongly about getting involved in this race is I really believe that my record of being a consistent conservative with the courage to lead, not just lead on popular issues at popular times. It's not particularly a profile in courage to come out in the middle of an economic recession and say I want to cut taxes and I want to help help individuals and businesses. It's hard to stand up and fight for entitlement reform 15 years ago, when no one thought that entitlement reform was a problem, but those of us who were looking at what was going on and the future unfunded liability and the demographic shift that was going on in America, I stood up in a state that had the second highest per capita population of seniors and said, we need to do something now so we can make sure future generations of seniors are provided for and have a good quality of life when they are retired, both from the standpoint of Medicare and Social Security and Medicaid. Well, I was ignored, and here we are now, and we're at a crisis. Social Security is taking in less money than it's paying out. Now, Medicare is on the brink, and we have a president who's now putting price controls, going to be putting price controls on Medicare. This dynamic is now, that I've been predicting for a while, is here. And what I've said is, in the statement here, I've had the courage to lead. I've had the courage to get out there on the moral cultural issues that most politicians stay away from, on the economic issues that are not popular, like saying to people we've got to make changes to the systems we have in place. And I've also been a strong pro-growth and advocate for growing the American economy, believing in the private sector. And finally, I've also had the courage to get out and talk about national security issues and lead on issues that, whether it's the Middle East and the war against the jihadists. I always remind folks that back in the late 90s, it was Joe Lieberman and me and the Armed Services Committee who had hearing after hearing about something we called asymmetric threats. Asymmetric threats was the word of the day, and that we were trying to get across, is how we had to transform the military from a large, heavy force into something that was going to react to these asymmetric threats. You know what asymmetric threats are now called? Terrorism. And so we were out in front on those issues before, again, having the courage to go out and try to change things in anticipation of the problems that are headed our way. That's what leaders do. That's what leaders do. They don't react. They lead. They see things in the future. They try to educate the American public, and they try to paint a vision that will get people to follow them, so we don't have crises, so we don't have catastrophes. That's why I've put my name forward, and that's why I'm excited that the more opportunity that people will see the record, the ability to be able to lead and accomplish things when I was in the United States Senate, and my vision for the future, I'm convinced that we will not only do well in Iowa, we'll do well in New Hampshire and South Carolina, and we'll have the candidacy that can defeat Barack Obama, but just as important, we'll have a president who is willing and has the courage to take on all of the tough issues, and we will have a slew of them, because this president is not going to confront any of them. This president is going to play politics. That's all he's interested in, winning re-election and putting one side against the other, not trying to do something which is in the best interest of our country. He's taken an economy that was in the ditch and he's put it over the cliff. And now, and all because he had he's a combination of incompetence and an ideology of growing and expanding the size of government, irrespective of its impact on people and our economic prosperity. I was mentioning some people in the back. Not only did he do Obamacare, which is hurt in this economy, and not only did he did this huge stimulus package that just ballooned our debt, and all it did was fund government and public employee unions, but I remind everybody that he also wanted to pass cap and trade. If it wasn't for the fact that Massachusetts came along, he would have passed cap and trade. And so you had that, and would have been even a bigger expansion and takeover of our economy. This is and no doubt, a Barack Obama with a second term will go back to his old playbook of card check and having the unions take over things even more. This is a complete destruction of what America has always been about, and what I would hope we want to leave to the next generation. So I thank you all for being out here. I'm greatly encouraged by the turnout. You see these phones here in the middle of the room. They're phones that we need to have people on all throughout the day. And if you would be so kind as to sign up to volunteer for 1 hour, 2 hours, even if you have problems dialing a phone, these are going to be phones that you don't have to dial. They're going to be numbers that'll have a database that'll come on, and all you have to do is pick up the phone, and you'll have someone to call, and We'll make it as easy as possible. You can rip through a lot of calls. This is a grassroots campaign. We are not going to be the candidate with the most money. We're going to have the candidate with the most energy, the most volunteer effort, and it's consistent with every race I've ever ran that I won. The first race I ran was in 1990, and I ran against a 14-year incumbent Democrat in a 60% Democratic district, and I had folks who believed in the message and the messenger, who wanted to see a change. And in 6 months before the election, just so you get a sense here, because we're about 8 months before the caucus, 6 months before the election in my first race, I was at 6% name recognition. I was at less than 2% of people who were for me, who didn't know anything about me. So, and I ended up 6 months later winning the election. Why? As Jamie said, the fire started. It's here, and it's spread. Because people had that energy and enthusiasm and a belief in a vision, in a cause. I'm not running for president because I want to be president. I want it for president because I believe in the causes that the people in this room believe in that need to be implemented in Washington, D.C. to secure our future and to give our children a better hope for prosperity and safety and security and the opportunity to worship the God that they love in a country that respects their freedoms. So that's what this is all about. And I've run tough races before, and you, people exactly like you, made all the difference. I'll go over 2 other races I ran just to give you an idea. This wasn't a one-off. My second race, they took my district, they blew it apart in redistricting and put me in with a 70% new district and a 72% registered Democrat district against a 24-year incumbent Democrat. Now, how many times does a guy, a 2-year incumbent who's only been in office 2 years, take on a 24-year incumbent with almost all his old district? And I won. I got 61% of the vote in a year that George Bush was running for re-election in '92 and got 29 in that same district. And I ran for the United States Senate, no chance, another incumbent Democrat, in Pennsylvania, which had almost 1 million more registered Democrats than Republicans. And I was one of 2 to defeat a Democratic incumbent in 1994 for the United States Senate. And move forward to 2000. And again, another tough election year. George Bush lost the state of Pennsylvania by 4. I was the only Republican in the country to win a state George Bush lost for the United States Senate. Me. So just to understand, yeah, I've run some tough races, and I've been in the in the also ran category. Well, he's a nice guy, but he can't win. That's just music to my ears. Because I've been there, I've done that, and we've been able to overcome it because of one thing, and it's standing in this room today. Because people shared the vision. They wanted someone who had the courage to fight, someone who understood what makes America great, not just lower taxes, but a strong economy, a government that is limited, strong families, a respect for life, and a strong national security posture overseas. That combination is what America is all about, and if with your help, we will shock the world, and you can do it right here in Iowa. This is a wide open race, and you have the opportunity right here to make a clarion call for freedom, for someone who is a constitutional conservative, who's done it and proved it. And let me put it this way, we're going to do our part. My wife, Karen, and we've been married 21 years, and our 7 children, we're committed to this. And ages 20 to 3, by the way. So this is not necessarily the easiest time for me to be running around the country running for president. But it's because of those children and because of our country that I feel the need to do that. Let me just thank you all very, very much for being here. I'll take a question or two just to do that, and then I'll have a little time for the press, and we can do a little press question and answer. Doctor, go ahead. Yes, sir.